We're on.
All right, Corona Man back in the house.
Yes.
All right, and update. I got my second shot Wednesday,
Nice.
and I'll tell you, people, whether you get it, I could care less. But if you're gonna, Jason, I go to the dog track in downtown Tampa, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's it is what it is in downtown Tampa, not
yeah. Right.
downtown, but over off a Bird, and
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, uh, drove up, parked the car, got in a golf cart, took me over to the place, uh, showed them that my number one card first. Uh, Walked in. The girl asked you, "Have you been exposed to corona? Have you gone anywhere?" That took about 1 minute. Walked through the couple of tents. Literally sat down in the chair. The lady nurse came up. Zap! I was back in my car.
Jeez.
6 minutes.
Wow.
So if you're waiting at
Wow.
the
Yeah,
stadium
sure.
in your car, like a client said, for an hour,
Oh my word.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, there's other ways, I guess.
Ah,
Yeah.
so and no, sometimes the second shot, you can get all this, all that. Nah, we're fine. So we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I just
So you went today?
I went Wednesday
Oh,
for the
Wednesday.
second
Okay.
one.
Okay.
So we're done with that crap. Of course, like the flu, you're probably gonna need a booster, everything. I don't care. I was sick of it.
Yeah.
And after seeing my man here sick for freaking
Yeah.
a month and at all, it's like, you know what?
Yeah, I didn't know you could get it twice. Everything that I heard. It was
Well,
like,
you
can
ain't.
get it again.
He ain't living right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right.
All right. So, anyway, it's Friday. Jeez, it's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be hot. It's not.
Yeah,
It's just really nice. But so I was coming across. I was reading the paper, and I saw where the headline says Supreme Court won't impose new limits on juvenile life sentences. So I go and I read a little bit on it. I'm thinking, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And that's what is the date?
Oh, like yesterday, day before.
Okay,
This.
Okay,
and by way of a background, this 15-year-old kid in Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida,
Florida, man.
yeah, Florida.
Yeah, as long as it didn't happen
So
in
anyway,
Florida,
well, it could. Basically, sad to say, he kills his grandfather.
Oh wow.
With a knife, stabs him to death over dispute over his girlfriend.
Okay.
All right, so he got sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
And how old you said?
He was 15.
He's 15.
It's rough.
Okay.
So, and just going back, if you don't recall, but as a lawyer reading these types of cases, the what is it? I don't want to say conservative, liberal, but the Supreme Court, because it was kind of 4-4 with Roberts being the swing vote, and he could go either way, to be honest. But for the last, say, 10 years, they've been more or less given the benefit of the doubt to juveniles. You can't give them the death penalty. When I say juveniles, I believe it's under 18.
18. Okay.
You can't give them the death penalty, and that's still the case. I guess, regardless of how heinous the crime is. But they could not get a life without parole if the state had a mandatory sentencing. Now, this is what's stupid or weird or just makes no sense.
What does that mean? They
so,
can't get life without parole if they have a mandatory.
Yeah, the state says a sentencing guideline that says if you're convicted of first-degree murder, you have to get mandatory. You have to get life without the possibility of parole.
Okay.
So that's adults. If you murder somebody, in the state of Florida, and you're convicted, you have to get either the death penalty or basically life without the possibility of parole.
Okay.
First degree murder. I mean, okay.
Okay.
Well, they said you can't do that for juveniles because the thought process was basically what is the I don't know. I'm going to call them liberals, the liberal court judges, and just do conservatives because that's just it's easier. The Kennedys, the Breyers, the Kagan, Sotomayers, and so forth. Just the ones appointed by Democrats.
Okay.
Honestly, liberals or whatever. And
tend to be more lenient. Versus more strict.
And so what they said is and the court held 9 years ago that again that violated the Eighth Amendment, that it's mandatory. Because the jury doesn't, or the judge doesn't have a choice to sentence them to a lesser, time in prison for whatever reason.
Okay.
So they said that's unconstitutional. You can't just throw the book at them. if without evaluating whether or not they can be rehabilitated, so to speak.
Okay.
All right. So and then a couple of days ago they said, well, the courts took that as you can't sentence a kid basically to life without parole unless you find that, what was the term? Unless you find that he's where's the darn turn on here? Basically, not able to be rehabilitated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
What is the word? Gosh,
yeah.
Sorry. No, I can't believe it. Oh, you can send him if he's permanently incorrigible, right?
Okay.
Meaning, there's a chance that when he gets in prison and he matures, that he'll change his ways and repent, so to speak, and not have to spend his whole life in jail for a decision he made as a juvenile. There's some argument to that. Things that you do when you're 14 or 15 or 16 or 17. And I'm not saying murdering somebody. You should never do that, of course. But that's just you don't think the same.
You have a limited perspective on the world. Like the decisions that you make are from like this narrowed view. Emotions and hormones run high.
Right.
There's a lot.
Well,
and then you throw that into like this chaotic upbringing situation. Where, like,
well, even if not, you got a 14-year-old girlfriend, and I like my girlfriend and 15, so I'm killing grandpa because he's making me break up with her. They don't really tell you what happened, but there was some disagreement. But either way, so the Supreme Court says, well, you know what? You don't have to find that the person is permanently incorrigible for that minor to get life without parole. So as long as, and here's the thing that just kind of blew my mind, as long as the state of Mississippi, Florida, or otherwise does not have a mandatory, you have to get life without parole for murder, then you can give them life without parole for murder. Mandatory, it's stupid. That's why I said this makes no sense. So if a state says it's mandatory, that violates the cruel and unusual punishment of the 8th Amendment. But as long as it's not mandatory, you're free to go.
Yeah.
Life without parole. It's just, does the mandatory make life without parole cruel and unusual?
Right,
But as long as you don't have that, it's not sentencing a teenager to life without parole is not.
Yeah. That's weird.
One of these things in the law it's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, and what it is, just and coming full circle,
it's like that vestigial thing on a dog's.
What it makes a difference is, don't think, presidents come and go.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court is the most valuable, or I don't want to say valuable. It's the one appointment that the president's legacy, so to speak, lasts years and years. Yeah. Because again, it was more or less, even though it was 5-4 back for the longest time with Roberts being the swing vote.
Yeah.
He basically went whatever he thought was the way to go.
So what's interesting about this is that
so it was 4-4, and he would swing. He would go one way or the other. Well, this one was 6-3. All the conservatives said no, and so it just makes a difference.
This is the thing that bothers me is that people always talk politics when it comes to the Supreme Court, and like it really shouldn't play. Politics is really like public policy, pushing things forward, and I get that there's a lot of lawmakers. Yeah. In politics.
535.
But
at the federal level,
it's really like when it comes down to justice, when it comes down to Supreme Court justices and legal matters,
right?
This is not a matter of politics.
Shouldn't be.
This is a matter of like
the Constitution.
Yeah,
it should just be. Honestly, the question should simply.
Society, what is acceptable?
Well, that's my point. And again, I'm not saying this kid did not deserve life without parole. He could be I don't know. It doesn't matter. But, the Constitution has the 8th Amendment that says cruel and unusual punishment. I guess the point of it is the fact that a state makes it mandatory or not. Yeah. If it either violates that 8th Amendment or it doesn't. Right. Really. Yeah. Because you're giving a kid, a 15-year-old, basically life in prison.
Yeah, but whether or
and
not.
And I'm not saying whether that's right or not.
Doesn't factor in this.
You may very well agree. Hey, look, you murder someone. I don't care if you're 17. heinous. You know, I'm not gonna. But
I mean, I guess that the idea.
because
I'm
there's
guessing.
honestly, you're 17 and 11 months, you can't get life without parole.
Yeah.
If you're 18 in one day, you can. So I'm not saying.
It's odd. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that they have a mandatory statute on the books would mean that the state is predisposed to give the mandatory sentencing. Therefore, if the state didn't have it on the books, but it was awarded, then the kid must have deserved
Well,
it.
and that's
Does
a
that
good
make
point.
sense?
Oh, and I'll tell you exactly what you just said.
Okay.
So if you have a mandatory life in prison on the books, that is your legislative body. Those aren't judges.
Yeah.
That's your legislative body sitting up, let's just say Florida, in Tallahassee saying, okay, without any facts known to us, you know, without hearing the trial, without hearing testimony from witnesses, without hearing from his family,
Yeah.
without hearing from his background, without hearing why this kid's all
Mhm.
foobarred,
Sure.
you get life.
Yeah.
Can't have it. But if a judge sitting in his, you know, capacity as the judge
Right.
hears, sees, listens, views,
Yeah.
and otherwise, if he says, nah, this kid doesn't deserve life without parole,
Yeah.
or he does, then that's okay. Which
Yeah.
kind of makes
Which is
sense.
close enough to the
Because it's like,
situation to make the
wait a minute,
decision, does it want
I'm up
to?
in Tallahassee. I have no idea what this kid did, why he did it,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. But he was convicted of first-degree murder. He gets life without parole, mandatory,
Right.
with no discretion.
Yeah.
They say you can't do that, and that was kind of the ruling.
That makes sense.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, though, it's that was the ruling, and
Yeah. It's still tragic. Like the whole.
Well, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
All right, what else? What else is going on today?
I want to trivialize it. I don't know. I'm afraid to talk about what's on my mind.
Yeah, we don't want to hear it. Well, I mean, so that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful day. The Rays are doing pretty well. They're in second place.
Yeah.
The Lightning, you know, they're probably going to make the playoffs, but they dropped from first to third in the division.
Yeah.
But again, it's a long season, and as you know, we were 2 years ago best in the world and lost in 4 games. So you don't know.
Yeah.
Again, how's the family with the corona?
They're doing much better. Like everybody's health is up. No one's fever. No one's like. I think the biggest downside is just like the lack of energy, hitting that energy wall.
I forget.
Go ahead.
Not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Your family's fine. I love it.
Yeah, they're good.
Mother's Day is when?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
A
crap.
Is it? It's not this Sunday, is it?
Dude,
Is it a
I
week
gotta
from?
Google it.
Yeah, please do. I think Mother's Day is a week from Sunday. For those of you watching and don't know, like Jason and May 9th.
May 9th.
All right,
Yeah.
boys and girls,
Yeah.
get your cards, your flowers, your whatever it is you're gonna do, but don't forget the old mom. And
Yeah.
for mom who's out there probably listening, we love you.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything you've done. Other than that,
Love you, Mom.
there you go. Shout out, Jason.
Yeah.
All right, then we're done.
Yeah.
And we'll, we'll.
So there's
we'll
a
be
quote
back.
I've been thinking about. It's been on my mind this week.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna butcher it. It's the what is it?
I don't know.
remember
It's your
who-
quote.
Yeah, he says that I am only one, but I am still one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. Which means that
Yeah, please do, because
I'm gonna butcher the rest of it, but it's like
yeah.
which basically means that I cannot refuse to do that which I can do.
Okay, it's
Right,
a
like
little
it's-
deep.
It
Little
is,
deep.
it is.
Deep for this redneck.
It is, but there's a lot of like.
Ed
there's a
McMahon's
lot of
over there.
negativity-
Deep.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and it's easy to focus on it. You know, that's what it means to me.
Well, exactly.
Which
That's
is
funny.
Like, if I can do one thing, I can't solve it all. But if I can do one thing, then I just need to focus on what's in front of me. That's what it says to me.
Okay.
And do the one thing that I can do, which is bring some kind of positivity into life.
Yeah. Well, it goes without saying. Glass is half full. Glass is half empty. You know, I choose my glass to be half full.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah. Half empty.
Yeah.
You know,
Give it to someone in
whatever.
need.
Yeah, I think
Forget about whether or not
Brian
it's
had put
empty or
something on the
Yeah.
on the board on our sign outside, and Schmitty had come by and it resonated with him because exactly if you want to watch TV and the internet, good point, and just find misery, angry, and hatred and violence,
Sure.
you can.
It's there.
It's there. If you want to find the other side of that coin,
Mm-hmm.
it's there too. And guess what? I got news for you. Living on the happy, look for the positive, let someone merge over. Don't honk at them. Don't give them the finger. Be nice. Give someone penny or two at the 7-Eleven if they're short on change. You will feel better about the world, yourself, and life in general than if you're just out there
Yeah.
honking, screaming, cussing,
It's
get out of
counterintuitive.
my way, put on your mat, whatever.
But it's
You
true.
know, but I agree because you will feel better by basically being happy and helping others than you will just by being misery. But that's up to you because you can find both,
Yeah.
and you can make one easier.
Oh yeah.
Being nice to
So
people,
easy.
the other. Yeah, all right, good. I like that. Good
Simple.
quote.
Keep it simple.
That
All right.
kind of sped us off to see you
Well,
next
that's how I do
Friday.
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
Ed McMahon and I are out. See ya.